There'll always be an England, but there may not always be a Bullwinkle. For in our last installment, he faced the bleak prospect of having to spend 1 week inside Abominable Manor before he could collect his inheritance.
Yes, and in case you don't know, I am the new Earl of Crankcase.
And Bullwinkle's going to inherit £1 million note.
£1 million? Sounds kind of heavy.
Nevertheless, that's what you're going to inherit.
Inherit? I can't even lift it.
Of course, Bullwinkle won't even be able to try to lift it. Not if the Crankcase nephews can help it. First, they tried to do our moose in with a Burmese tiger trap.
But that didn't work.
Next, they attempted to shoot him with a spear gun.
That didn't work either.
And finally, they sent 11 million volts of electricity through the phone on which he was conversing.
That worked.
Yes, but in reverse. Realizing they were up against a much too formidable opponent, the Crankcase boys decided to call on a professional assassin known as the Exterminator.
Operator, get me the Black Hole of Calcutta, please.
This is not a recording. You are talking to Executive Secretary to the Exterminator.
Let me speak to your employer, will you?
Boris, darling, you busy?
Sure I'm busy. It's lunch hour. This is the way we slice the bread, slice the bread, slice the bread. What kind of cheese you want in sandwich, Natasha? Blue or Swiss?
Swiss, darling.
Swiss coming up.
By the way, you got it business call.
Business call? Goody. Things are looking down. I'll take it in mausoleum.
The deal was quickly made, and it was only a matter of minutes before Boris and Natasha were on their way to England.
Who we off to kill this time?
The name of the victim is unimportant.
What a strange name.
I agree.
It was well after midnight by the time they arrived at Abominable Manor, where they were enthusiastically greeted by the nephew's Crankcase. Yeah.
Sort of gets you right here, don't it, Natasha?
And with Filcher Crankcase leading the way, Boris was escorted to a door containing a large peephole.
Victim is in here?
Yes, look in there and you'll see the new Earl of Crankcase. He is your victim.
That's victim.
But you said,
Please, leave the dialect to me.
But victim or victim, all Boris had to do was focus his evil eyes on Rocky and Bullwinkle and...
Oh, boy, Natasha, you're never going to guess who's on the other side of the door.
Is Peabody and Sherman?
Silly girl, flying squirrel and moose.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Hey, you. You know there's two in there?
yes, the moose is the one we want you to exterminate.
Okay, buddy. I tell you what I'm going to do. Going to make you a package deal. Going to kill two for the price of one.
And so a few moments later, a knock was heard at the front door.
That must be the police, Bullwinkle.
Hey, are you the police?
Right now, Governor. I'm a Bobby.
Who's she?
She's a Billy.
Golly, officers, I'm sure glad you're here. I fear for Bullwinkle's life.
Come on, I got to put you under police protection.
So saying, Boris escorted our unsuspecting heroes into a nearby closet.
How come we have to stay in here?
It's only safe place in house. But so you don't get lonesome, here is a radio for you to play.
Hey, that's mighty thoughty.
However, that was no ordinary radio, for instead of tubes, it contained sticks of TNT.
Yes, and soon as it warms up, boom! No more Rocky and his friends.
Will Boris have a show of his own next week? We'll find out in Explosive Situation or Don't Make It Worse, It's Bad Enough.
Many years ago, there was a year that was a mighty bad year for witches. They were everywhere, big ones, little ones, ugly ones, and uglier ones. In fact, there were so many that there just weren't enough people to go round to cast spells upon.
Let go! I want to put him to sleep for 100 years! You let go! I'm going to change him into a chicken! But I saw him first! You did not!
It got so bad that even the witches couldn't tell which witch was which. Then one day, as a little witch was searching the forest for a victim,
If I don't find somebody to cast a spell on pretty soon, I'll...
Then suddenly, the witch saw a little frog sitting on a log near a pond.
Well, what have we here?
We have a frog. What have we there?
I'm a witch.
That figures.
And I'm going to cast a spell on you.
Oh, come now. I'm already a frog. What else could you do to me?
But the witch was desperate, and with a wave of her hand, she changed the frog into a handsome young prince.
Oh, boy, that felt good.
Hey, what's the big idea? I don't want to be a handsome prince. I was happy as a frog.
Well, I admit it isn't the kind of a spell we usually cast, but times are hard. Ta-ta, dearie.
The young prince went back to the log and squatted down where he used to sit as a frog and dreamed of catching flies, but somehow it just wasn't the same. He even tried a few croaks.
Me. Chug-a-rump. Chug-a-rump.
But it was no use. He knew that if he was ever to be happy again, he must find the witch and make her change him back into a frog.
Well, it's like they say. You can take the frog out of the pond, but you can't take the pond out of the frog.
So the young man set off in search of the witch, and after several hours of stumbling through the woods, he stumbled into a castle. This particular castle was owned by a king who had a very beautiful but unmarried daughter.
Why don't you get a husband?
They're all frogs or something these days.
This young man who just walked through our wall doesn't look like a frog.
Oh, are you a handsome young prince?
No, I'm a handsome young frog.
See?
No. The boy is just a little mixed up. What he needs is a wife, say, like you.
So, despite the young prince's protests, they were married. They were very happy and had everything except a home.
But, dearest, do all brides have to live in a pond?
They do if their husband is a frog, and where are those flies I asked you to catch me?
But if I don't get a real house of my own pretty soon, I'll just die.
The young frog prince finally gave in and built her a beautiful cottage. Then one day, when he was in the yard casing a June bug, a witch came by.
Oh, goody, a handsome young prince. Probably the last one left in the kingdom, and he's all mine. I'll change him into a
Frog?
Good idea. A frog it will be.
That night, at the dinner table...
You know, honey, you've insisted that you're a frog for so long that you're even beginning to look like one.
But I keep telling you I am a frog, and if we don't move back to the pond, I'll just die.
Just then, the little witch who had originally cast a spell upon him came by and was amazed to see that he'd returned to a frog.
Mighty strange. Usually when I prince 'em, they stay princed. Well, I'll try again.
Only this time, he was changed into a chicken.
Well, that did it.
And deciding that it was time to call a halt to such nonsense, he angrily stormed into the witches' union where he confronted the head witch.
Now look, first I was a frog, then a prince, and now I'm a chicken. I've had enough Kings's X.
Okay, I'll change you back to whatever you say. What would you like to be?
Be a prince, honey.
Yeah, a prince.
So be it. Here, Prince. Nice prince.
Not that kind of a prince.
Oh, sorry.
But try as she would, the old witch couldn't change him into a prince, so she finally returned him to a frog.
Whew. I'm sorry, dearie, but you've been bewitched so much that I just can't make a prince out of you.
The poor frog was confused and very sad. He turned to his wife and said,
Will you still love me even though I'm just a frog?
Well... Chug-a-rumph. Yes.
And with that, they both hopped back to the pond where they sat on a mossy rock and exclaimed,
If we have to stay frogs for the rest of our lives, we'll just die.
Of course, they didn't die, but you can rest assured that they croaked every night.
Well, things are reaching the boiling point down at dear old Abominable Manor. For last time, you may recall, Boris Badenov made a deadly arrangement with the Crankcase nephews.
It's time for a change of Earl.
Resourceful as ever, Boris and Natasha disguised themselves as English policemen.
You may be a Bobby, but she certainly isn't.
No. Show Moose your bobby pin, Natasha.
See, darling, 20 years on force.
Secure in the belief that they were under police protection, Rocky and Bullwinkle allowed themselves to be placed in a closet.
Well, at least we'll be safe in here.
Nothing could have been further from the truth, for Boris had given them a radio for company, a radio booby-trapped with TNT.
That's bobby trap.
Well, whatever it was, that radio would heat up and then...
See, I bet we're just in time to catch the English sweepstakes.
And the horses are coming into the home stretch with mother-in-law in the lead.
Mother-in-law? I got money on that nag.
Mother-in-law is still in front. They're heading for the finish line, and it's...
I can't take it, Doc. It's just too exciting.
That fool Moose turned it off.
No, Boris, don't go in there.
And at the wire, it was Adam's apple by a neck.
Boris, you're smiling?
Sure, I had him to place.
Well, Mr. Executioner, your first attempt was an abysmal failure.
And it didn't work either. But now comes my hotsy-totsy it worked on Trotsky plane. Over here we got dish of macadamia nuts. Very salty. Now, Moose eats nuts. Moose gets thirsty. Moose goes to kitchen, drinks 50 glasses water, gets bellyache. Squirrel phones drugstore for bellyache pills. Delivery boy races up driveway on motor scooter with pills. But he rolls over, tag put there by yours truly, and gets flat. While boy changes tire, I change pills to macadamia nuts. Moose eats more thinking they are pills. And gets such big bellyache he needs doctor. I come in dressed as sturgeon and operate immediately. Now comes best part. Moose does not pull through.
Oh, Boris, darling, you got best twisted mind in the whole world.
I do the best I can with the tools I got.
Running upstairs, Boris quickly entered the room where Rocky and Bullwinkle were sitting and anxiously awaited the right moment to put his plan into effect.
Gee, I sure would like some macadamia nuts.
This was the right moment.
Oh, I'm in luck. Here is a whole bowlful right in my lap.
Better not eat too many, Bullwinkle. They'll make you thirsty.
But unable to resist, the nut-hungry Moose downed them all in one fell swoop.
My, I am thirsty.
The evil plan was progressing perfectly. Bullwinkle went into the kitchen and promptly drank 49 glasses of water.
Here, make it an even 50.
Oh, thank you. Oh!
Bullwinkle, what's the matter?
I got a abdominable pain.
Where?
In my tummy.
Reacting instantly, Rocky put in a call to the drugstore. Within 5 minutes, a delivery boy was racing up the driveway when, just as Boris had predicted, the boy changed his tire.
And I changed the pills.
Sure enough, Bullwinkle swallowed the nuts, thinking they were pills.
Now how do you feel?
Oh, I feel much better. Call the doctor.
And here I am.
Are you a doctor?
What do you think I am, an exterminator? Don't answer that. I got to operate.
And before he knew what was happening, Bullwinkle found himself on an operating table while Rocky nervously paced the corridor outside. Where will it all lead? We'll learn the answer in You've Got Me in Stitches or Suit Yourself.
Time for Bullwinkle's Corner.
Hi, culture lovers. Today's poem is a stirring saga of forest conservation. Woodman, spare that tree. Woodman, spare that tree. Touch not a single bough.
Hello, kiddo.
In youth it sheltered me, and I'll protect it. Hey, what you doing with that axe?
What else? I'm shaving.
Oh, that old familiar tree that...
Timber!
Now, hold on. That old familiar tree, whose glory and renown are spread o'er land and sea. And wouldst thou hew it down?
You said it, Buster.
Old tree, the storm still brave, and woodman, leave the spot. While I've a hand to save, thy axe shall hurt it not. Well, that's gratitude for you.
Hello again, Peabody here. Although Christopher Columbus discovered many things, the one thing he didn't discover was Columbus, Ohio.
What
did he discover, Mr. Peabody?
Just the North American continent, Sherman, and today you and I will help him do it. Set the Wayback Machine for 1492.
Yes, sir, Mr. Peabody.
And our target, Spain. The Wayback wasted little time transporting us to the court of Ferdinand and Isabella, and there before the throne stood Columbus pleading his case.
The world, she's no flat, she's around.
Ridiculous.
That's what you say. I say she's around.
He's crazy.
Oh, I don't know, Fred. Maybe he's right.
Sure, I'm right, lady. The world, she's around like an orange.
Like this orange?
Look at that, Mr. Peabody. A square orange.
And a square king, Sherman. I beg your pardon, your majesties, but Columbus is correct, you know. The world is round, and if you'll give us just 3 ships, we'll prove it. Thanks to Isabella, the king agreed, and the next morning we found 3 ships waiting for us in the harbor.
It's 3 nice-looking boats you got there. And at this time, I'd like to say bon voyage.
You sound as though you weren't coming along, Mr. Columbus.
That's right, I'm not.
You're joking.
No. You see, I'm not really gonna think the world she's around. I think she's oblong. Have a nice trip.
One moment, please.
It's no use trying to stop me. Ain't nothing gonna get me on those boats.
And nothing would have, except that suddenly a gangplank from one of the vessels was lowered and...
What do we do now, Mr. Peabody?
We'll carry him aboard the flagship.
But...
No buts, my boy. Columbus must make this voyage. Someone else also made the voyage, a certain Gaspar Vallejo, who was Spain's most prosperous globe maker.
Of all the dirty tricks, here I got 2 million square globes, and that guy Columbus, he's trying to prove that the world is around.
You got no worries, Senor Vallejo. We all know there is nothing on the other side of the ocean.
No? You ever hear of El Nevada? I spent a week there once. I guess the only thing to do is go with Columbus and see that he never gets it back.
And you say you're a navigator, Senor Vallejo?
Oh, si, senor.
Very well, you're hired. With Vallejo charting our course, the 3 ships left the harbor and sailed out to sea. It wasn't long before Columbus came to and joined us on deck.
Well, I think I run down to the delicatessen and pick up some cheese.
You better not, Mr. Columbus.
What's the matter? Delicatessen is closed?
No, it's just that we're out at sea.
I don't believe you.
And so you see, sir, we had no alternative. Unless you discover the North American continent, it may not be discovered at all.
You sure the world she's around?
Positive.
And that the ocean she just don't fall off?
Take my word for it.
Then how do you explain it that?
It was hard to believe, but just ahead the ocean did appear to drop off into nothing.
I told you the world she's flat.
Wasting no time in explanations, I ran to the wheel and spun it wildly, causing the ship to do a complete turnabout. Fortunately, the wind was with us, and we were able to sail back in the direction from which we came.
We're going back to Spain, yes?
We're going back to Spain, no.
But, Mr. Peabody, how do you explain the ocean dropping off like that?
Because we weren't on the ocean, Sherman. That navigator of ours steered us straight into Africa, right down the Zambezi River. Those were the Victoria Falls we almost went over.
I'm an punch that navigator right in the nose.
Unfortunately, Senor Vallejo had another trick up his sleeve.
Stay in the back. If anyone makes a move, I'm gonna crash the ship on the shore.
He's got us, Mr. Peabody.
Oh, no, he hasn't. I dare you to run us onto the shore.
Oh, you do you?
Yes, I do.
But, Mr. Peabody...
I took one step forward, and Vallejo promptly spun the wheel, certain the boat would ram itself on the rocks. However, in so doing, one of the sails came about and... With Vallejo out of the way, the Nina, Pinta, and Santa Fe set a westerly course and, many months later, sighted the North American continent. Columbus had discovered America.
What do you know about that? The world is around.
He sure looks happy.
So happy that upon dropping anchor, the first thing he did was to dive over the side and go pearl diving.
Pearl diving, Mr. Peabody?
Why, yes, Sherman, that's how that famous phrase was born.
Which phrase is that?
Columbus, the gem of the ocean.
You've got to give Boris Badenoff credit. When he sets out to kill a moose, he does it like no one else. For as you no doubt will recall, he placed an innocent dish of macadamia nuts on Bullwinkle's lap.
Well, what have we here?
You eat those and they'll make you thirsty.
Truer words were never spoken. Bullwinkle drank 49 glasses of water.
And one for the road.
Of course, that much H2O is bound to produce a tummy ache.
Hello, drugstore. Send over some bellyache pills.
It was all part of Boris's mad plan. The delivery boy got a flat tire, let a knob, switched the pills to more macadamia nuts, and you guessed it, Bullwinkle got a bigger bellyache than ever.
Hello there, Dr. Kildarovich at your disservice.
I'm glad you're here, Doctor. Bullwinkle's sick.
You just finding out?
The culmination of the evil scheme was to operate on the moose and not have him pull through.
You got everything, Dr. Darling.
Let me see. Paper clips, glue is all here.
And with that, Boris proceeded to go to work. However, the fuse box, in abominable manner, was in an advanced state of disrepair, and...
Hey, what gives with lights?
You want flashlight?
What for? Operation is going to be failure anyway.
1 hour later, the exhausted surgeon emerged from the operating theater.
Congratulations, Squirrel. You are proud father of a dead moose.
What? But you told me he'd be fine.
Moose is fine. Finally dead.
Pardon me, Doctor. I'm sorry I was delayed.
Oh, think nothing of it.
Bullwinkle!
Moose!
There's a J in there. Bullwinkle J Moose.
But the doctor said you were dead.
Well, there must be some mistake, I think. You see, I heard the nurse ask for a flashlight, and so I went out in search of one. All I found, though, was this luau torch.
Well, if that ain't you on the table in there, who...
Congratulations, Boris. You are first doctor to ever remove appendix from suit of armor.
Well, at least it's not total loss.
More determined than ever, Boris pulled out all the stops. He booby-trapped the entire second floor, put poison in the drinking water, and even wrote a nasty letter.
How many U's in moose?
Let me see. Moose. M-U-S-E. 2.
But it was all to no avail. The booby-traps misfired. The poison only helped to purify the water. And the nasty letter was delivered to the wrong moose.
Boys, I got proposition for you. I pay you, you kill moose.
Dash it all, old man. I thought you were an expert.
I am at not killing moose.
You know, we really don't have to kill him.
What do you mean?
Well, the will clearly stipulates the moose stay inside the house for 1 week.
You mean if moose goes outside the house, you get £1 million note?
Of course. All you have to do is lure him out, take a picture of him, and...
Natasha, get my brownie.
Cookie?
Camera!
I think I'll get some air, Rock.
You better not, Bullwinkle. You're supposed to stay inside for 1 week.
Oh, thinky foo.
Oh, I think I'll go upstairs and take a nap.
So saying, Rocky departed, leaving Bullwinkle alone, but not for long.
Quick! Only 30 seconds left to play. We got to make touchdown or we lose game.
Let me make the touchdown, coach.
His deal. Goal line is out through open door. Go!
Don't worry, we'll win.
And Bullwinkle took off, not realizing that he was heading outside the house where Natasha, dressed as a cheerleader, waited with the camera. Will Bullwinkle score but lose his inheritance? The answer lies in 50 cents lost or get that half back.